Hey now, ladies and gentlemen. Hey now. Hey now. Hey now and a hey now. Good start. Broke the camera. Way to go, Andrew. Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm doing my pre-show fix the camera deal from Richard Dixon's. You know, that thing I have to do every day. I got to get it just like I like it. Y'all know how I am in podcast world. I get real I don't like to say the word anal cuz I feel like that's weird. I'm just like uh real particular. That's the word I'm looking for. That's a lot less weird word. I'm particular about the camera. Welcome everybody on this Wednesday. I am glad you are here with me as we have a lot slated for today. I got a little bit of a new setup going on here. I decided I've been doing this real uh unsophisticated setup as of late because I like to watch the YouTube, just like my man Bob Cook who's in there right now. I like to see that chat and see what's going on. And I've just kind of been propping up my phone. I've got like a second phone that I use for streaming and whatever else. And so I just prop it up against my laptop, and I'm like, dude, you got a whole phone stand. You got a gimbal phone stand. Why don't you put it on there? And I did, and now I feel like I'm in a whole new world now. I've got it all right here in front of me. It's actually pretty nice. I can move it around. Look at that. Look at that. Okay. All right. So as I said, a lot going on today. We'll jump straight into it. No John Bird this rest of this week as he went to North Crackalacky to visit his family reunion. I ain't gonna lie, I feel like they do family reunions all the time. Felt like he just got back from one. Uh, but I don't want to be that guy and judge him because he'll throw a temper tantrum. You know how he is. But he'll be back on Monday and we'll get squared away and back on track. Put out a new pod last night. It was our goodbye message to Ashley Webb, who it felt like she came and left in the blink of an eye, and that we barely got to spend any time with her. But she's gone but not forgotten, which is what we called the episode. And we we paid homage to one Ashley Webb, as she was the most um, transparent Democrat that we've seen in a long time. And yes, I mean that pun. It was a wild thing to see. It was wild, but we talked a lot about her, and we even went into that whole the church thing, the commune deal that we had talked about for like an hour yesterday. I can't even remember the name of it now. The Church of or Cerritos of Birmingham or whatever it's called. We went into detail on that and talked a little bit about because it was interesting because I had Tony Gump there and he was able to kind of help me recount our visit to the commune, which was a nice visit. I'm not gonna lie, it was a nice visit, but people think that all the whole thing's weird. And there's several outfits around the area that people that are religious outfits that people view as cults. It's just kind of what people do. I think people like to do that. I'm not saying they are or they're not. I'm just saying people like to do that in this day and age of Netflix documentaries and everything else. When you feel like you've got like a real life cult in your neighborhood, it's fun to talk about. So, but we're not going to do that today. We're going to talk about a lot of other stuff. You want to get in 205 545 9950. That's a 545 9950. Hey, now, roll call. We'll keep it simple since John Bird's not here. We won't do all the pomp and circumstance. We just will announce a winner here with your early birds being Bo, Jesse, Jeremiah Scott, Bill, Tony. Those are your early birds. And maybe for the first time, I don't know that I've ever seen this happen. The one and only, hell yeah, Ricky is in the number one spot today. Congratulations, Ricky. Congratulations, buddy. Send us a song and we'll get you hooked right on up. Bubba Rumble number 2, Shane from Berry Mountain at number 3. Then you got Taylor and Hippie both with the J's. You got Trace, Carey, Josh with the J's. You got Jen, Heath, Boomer, Lynn, Leslie, Dixter, Michael, Patty with the J's. A lot of J's today. I like it. I like it. Joey Saxon, I see all you guys in the giving out the hey nows. I appreciate it. I appreciate ya. I appreciate it. By the way, today is a very special day, and it marks 50 years since my wife was born. That's right. Today is Trisha's birthday. So here's what I want everybody to do. This is going to be a team effort. I'm going to need everybody to wish Trish a happy birthday on the text line. And as they're coming in, I'm going to record them on my phone and send them to her. That way, she knows how much she's loved. I'm not very good with birthdays, especially buying birthday presents. We've talked about this before, but it's I got her a little something, something. I told you about the also the thing the thing that we're going to the Edgar Allan Poe thing we talked about yesterday. So I think I did good this year for the first time. Because there was that one time for Christmas, I got her a Costco membership. Y'all remember that? Was that like 2 years ago? That was the worst Christmas gift of all time. I mean, she still I don't want to say she holds it over my head, but I can tell she's like, oh, if you get sideways, I'm going to remind everybody you got me a Costco card for Christmas one time. That was in in the moment it seemed like a great idea because I'm like, oh, it's thoughtful. We've been talking about getting a Costco card and da 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 da. And so I'm like, I walk into Costco and I got my chest poked out. I'm like, yeah, I'm getting my wife a Costco card. I need to sign up. And the lady at the counter's kind of like, oh, okay. And then I give it to her, and it was just kind of, I don't even remember. I think you know how when you have traumatic moments in your life, your brain just blocks it out, and you don't remember what happened. I don't remember what happened when she opened that. But anyway, happy birthday to my wife, and I hope she has a wonderful day. She will have a wonderful day when she sees me this afternoon. Every day you get to see me is wonderful. Am I right? So if y'all want to send her birthday wishes, send that in on the text line 205 545 9950, or you can text in through the app, however you want to do it. 545 9950. Let's hit this first break. We'll come back on the other side, and we'll get rolling with a ton of headlines today. We'll make it happen right after this. Keep them coming, man. Keep them coming. Everybody sending in happy birthday wishes to Trish on the text line. Send them on in, baby. Send them in. I'm gonna take a picture of them. Or a little video as I scroll through them. I'm gonna wait till they stop coming in. They're still coming in, so y'all get in on the action. Trish is 50 today. Yeah, she's gonna be so excited when she finds out that I'm telling everybody how old she is. But I like to brag about that, you know? I like to brag about having an older woman. It's a flex. That's what the young people call it. It's a flex. I told her this morning she was a cougar. She's officially she's my cougar. All right, 205-545-9950. Let's I guess before we get into the headlines here, let me get Jack who's on the line. Jack, what's up?
I know you got to get to the headlines, but I called I was been watching your Caritas stuff, and I'm Catholic, and that's definitely that's something they say, you have to have approval of those apparitions by the Pope, on stuff, and so they don't allow people to go out there and, just have something that's and like you said, the priests are not even allowed to go out there and really celebrate Mass, but there's some great places like the Shrine of the Blessed Sacrament up there is good. That's a totally legit thing. And then that you have the Ave Maria Grotto and all that. But I just moved out here somewhere and got hooked up. I thought I was going to a Catholic church. It turns out they just got excommunicated. And so you got to watch out.
Well, I've got people that I know that are Catholic and go to a particular church that said that they've had those same people from the Caritas deal show up at their church in an attempt to recruit people. And this is what we talked about on the podcast last night,
Right.
is they were very concerned with how many people they have in the commune because, I mean, on paper, you need money to keep it. You need people to keep it running, right. So you got to have a certain amount of people.
Well, and you did a reporting on the Jesus Cult and Warrior too, man. You're ripping a seam into the cults, but I hate to say it because a cult, like who is it? Tony said that don't join a cult unless it makes you happy.
Right. If it makes you feel good, I mean, whatever.
Thanks, man. I'm watching. I'm listening.
All right, Jack. Thank you, buddy. Yeah, Tony Gump said that last night. He's like, don't join a cult unless it makes you happy. And for the most part, because last night we played this, it was like a Nat Geo piece on that church or that organization that was from like 10 years ago. And they talked to some of the members. And the members were very adamant. Like it seemed like they were there, on their own. Like it was their decision to be there. And it's just, of course, it sounds like Jack knows a lot more about Catholicism than I do. I know very little. But when I just look at it from a common sense standpoint, I see kind of what I think is going on here, and not to diminish what these individuals believe deep down in their hearts. They may very well believe all this. I think they probably do, but they're also in the business of moving money around, and there's possibly some level of, I don't know, power tripping, controlling people or whatever. Because the guy that runs it was, back in the 80s, he was just a landscaper. He's just kind of a regular old guy that got linked up with a lady who saw the Virgin Mary, and then they made a whole big whodunit. And ever since then, it's been going on. What was interesting, though, and again, we covered this last night, was when we went, and I just want to say, to preface, all these people that we met were so incredibly nice. I have nothing bad to say about them. they were very concerned about how many people they had, like how many people they had on site, because they've got so many things that need to be done. They've got jobs that need to be filled. They need people to tend to the livestock. They need people to work in the lumber mill, to build the homes, tend to the gardens, to probably, run the education. I'm sure the kids that are there are probably not going to public school. They're probably homeschooled right there at the church, but it's you know, it's interesting. I will say that, but I do think when it comes to the businesses, when it came to the coffee shop and the other business that they had, that they were just kind of using that to move around money, which, I mean, at the end of the day, you remember what Trump said on the debate stage back in 2016? He says, "Yeah, I use all the loopholes. You're the one who wrote the laws. Why would I not use them to my advantage?" So that's all they're. I mean, listen, they're doing it. They're just using the loopholes. If you don't want them using the loopholes, then you need to rectify that. You need to close the loopholes and keep them from moving money around. Anyway, I don't want to get into all that. We talked about that yesterday and did it again last night. And like I said, they were very nice people, even if they are in a cult. Like it was a really nice cult. I will say that. This is the nicest cult members I ever met. We saw this morning, y'all have probably seen this by now, but a crazy moment ensuing during a Delta Airlines flight from Detroit to New York. I think it was LaGuardia Airport this morning. Air traffic control comes over the radio and alerts pilots on this Delta flight that there was a reported rocket launcher on the ground at LaGuardia. And with this stuff that TSA hassles you for, like, you can or can't bring this, it's like, how do you even get, even if it's not going through TSA, even if you just jump the fence, like, how do you get on airport property with a rocket launcher? That seems like kind of a big deal. It said air traffic control radio from ATC.com synced with the airplane's flight path shows the report coming in as the plane nears the airport during the jet's descent into LaGuardia at about 8:53. I guess this was last night. It says 8:53 p.m. Eastern. The air traffic control tower said man-pad alert issued at LaGuardia Airport. Use extreme caution. The pilot responds, "Can you explain what man-pad is?" He said, "Yeah, that's a manned portable air defense system." He said, "Yeah, basically was a report of a rocket launcher," he added with a chuckle. "There was a report by the Port Authority Police. They said by, I believe, Terminal C," he says. "We've had conflicting reports, but nothing has been an issue as of yet." The pilot remained cool and calm, responding, "Okay, Delta 2604, thanks for the information." The controller then confirmed about 2 minutes later that it was a non-credible threat. I want to know who it was that called it in, that's out there on the tarmac and is like, "Oh, that's definitely a guy with a rocket launcher. We need to inform the pilots to perform some fancy maneuvers." I mean, what do you do? What do you do if you're flying one of these Airbuses? Like, if you're flying a 747 and somebody's got a rocket launcher and fires a rocket at you? It's not like you can do some fighter jet Blue Angel spin move. You just gotta take it on the chin, if you will, and try to land that bad boy as smoothly as possible. Friggin' rocket launcher. Oh, that's wild. I think somebody's playing too much Call of Duty. I think that's what's going on. Whoever's working at the airport stayed up all night, long Call of Duty, didn't get any sleep, had to go to work, and is having flashbacks of a round that he played with the boys the night before. So there's that we found out about that this morning. But I want to start off with Iran and what's going on in the latest with Iran and the Trump administration, there is seemingly an uptick in what is going to be the obliteration of everything that Iran has left. There are reports that the Iranians are attempting to move their nuclear program, centrifuges, whatever, to a different underground location underneath a mountain and going to attempt to fire their nuclear program back up. Now, they don't really have the ability to do that, and they won't have it anytime soon, but according to reports, they're laying the groundwork. So the president was asked about that yesterday when he was hosting the president of Lebanon. We'll give you that and much more. 545-9950. More next. 205-545-9950. 545-9950. Noto Roofing. NotoRoofing.com. NotoRoofing.com. Reach out to them. Free roof inspection fee, free roof tune-up. It's all free. And then just see if you got anything going on, man. These are my buds. These are my best buds. Love these guys. They do a fantastic job. Friends of mine, obviously, but so I'm a little partial, but I know the work they do. They've done work in my house. Got it done, man. No problemo. They did it while I was at work, and by the time I got home, they had it all fixed. And I was like, dang, cleaned up the mess. Wasn't no nails, no garbage, no nothing left over. They just do a great job, man. Great job. And there's so many roofing companies out there that there's a good chance you're going to end up with a bad one if you're just, slinging spaghetti at the wall and hoping for the best. So y'all reach out to them. 205-848-2299. That's 848-2299. Online, NotoRoofing.com. Today, a judge is expected to lay out the next steps in the Nicolas Maduro drug trafficking case with 4 counts: narco-terrorism conspiracy, cocaine importation conspiracy, possession of controlled substance, something. I don't know what all 4 charges are, but there's a lot of years attached to that. I think 20 years, 30 years. Conspiracy to possess machine guns and destructive devices, maximum sentence of life in prison. So it's life with an extra 70 on top of it. Possession of machine guns and destructive devices, that's a count 3. So, yeah. So drugs are bad, okay? But I want to talk about Iran. We'll get into the Maduro stuff as it happens. Iran, in the headlines, not just for the conflict, but for the execution of 2 young men for the crime of helping anti-regime protesters earlier this year. So Iran's still doing Iran stuff even while this is going on, and they literally hanged 2 young men who did nothing more than provide shelter for protesters that were literally running from gunfire. Irfan Esfandiari, 18 years old, and Gul Mohammed Mohammadi, a 23-year-old Afghan refugee, sheltered demonstrators from government bullets and even offered to let them come into their homes to escape the brutality. The pair are among the 59 men arrested together during the January protest in the Shahid Al-Kahani Square in Isfahan, during which Iranian officials say 4 security force members were killed. Trump shared a message on Truth Social from Iranian activist and journalist Masih Alianhad, who wrote, quote, "While the world watches the war, the Islamic Republic of Iran hanged a 19-year-old boy today. He was his parents' only child. He did not kill anyone. He did not carry a weapon. His crime, according to the Islamic Republic, was opening a door, sheltering protesters who were running from security forces. That was enough to send him to the gallows." Irfan was one of 12 young men in the Al-Kahani Square case in Isfahan, arrested during the January 2026 uprising. Yesterday, all 12 were moved to quarantine. Today, the Islamic Republic hanged him. This is a government that is so terrified of a generation that refuses to be silent that it executes teenagers for the act of compassion. Say his name, because the regime is already trying to erase him, because his mother and father are left with nothing, not even the right to grieve loudly. She then writes, "This broke my heart." This one, she said that the Islamic Republic of Iran hanged Gul Mohammed Mohammadi, this is this morning. This is the other boy, the 23-year-old Afghan refugee who fled to Iran seeking safety and whose only crime was opening his door to let terrified protesters in as they ran from security forces. He was arrested, thrown into a show trial alongside 58 others. All proceedings were compressed into 3 one-hour sessions. Lawyers were denied access to case files. Confessions were extracted under torture. The Supreme Court confirmed the sentences in a rush. This morning, they hanged him. He was a refugee. He came to Iran because the Taliban ruined his life. Iran was supposed to be his refuge. Instead, the Islamic Republic executed him for the most human thing a person can do: open a door for someone who is afraid. I am his voice. Please say his name. His family is under pressure to keep quiet. Awful, awful, awful situation there. And it really shows the reality of what goes on in Iran and who these people are that we are dealing with. These are insane individuals that have no problem killing teenagers for simply looking to protect individuals. And that will probably be the fate of the 60, 70 others that they talked about that were within the same show trial. And it's sad. But the Iranian regime has been doing this for a very long time. This is not new. This is a decades-old tactic as long as they've been in power since the 70s. They've been killing people that dare speak out or do anything to prop up dissent against the government. So, with that, you've got to understand what the Trump administration is going through with what they're dealing with. Now, yesterday, Trump was hosting the president of Lebanon at the White House in a kind of a historic move, because the president of Lebanon has not been hosted at the White House in 15 years or something like that. And there's been no sort of real diplomacy between the U.S. and Lebanon. They've just allowed whatever to happen, right? They just didn't want to deal with it or whatever the case is. The reason Lebanon is important is because Lebanon, where they are, yes, a majority Muslim country, they are still in a situation where they kind of want to live in somewhat peace. But they've been invaded by Iranian terror proxy groups that sit on their southern border and fire missiles into the northern side of Israel. And because of that, Israel responds and rockets get lobbed back and forth and gunfire constantly erupting there on the border. And whenever that is the case, innocent people die, especially when you're dealing with Iranian proxies, because these terror groups use civilians as human shields. We already know that. We saw it with Hamas in Gaza and every other terror group related to this outfit. Trump has decided for some, and I can't tell you why previous presidents have not wanted to address this, but Trump has decided that it would be beneficial for that region and everybody if you could solve these, for lack of a better term, side quests while dealing with Iran, because it all ties back to Iran. The Hezbollah, the other terror proxies all tie back to Iran. So the fighting that Israel has to do, or the retaliatory strikes that they take, are all tied back to Iran. They fund, they train, they do all these things. So Trump says, we'll go after this situation, try to solve this problem with the leadership in Lebanon, and then weaken Iran even further, while simultaneously blowing all their military assets off the map. And as they move around their nuclear program here and there, we'll continue to blow that up. And it will ultimately result in a weaker Iran. If you can take the areas where these Iranian proxies have set up shop and train them, supply them, or help them in any way to force those proxies out and to keep them out and force those proxies to ultimately stay in Iran, then you solve a big part of the problem. Because what Iran does is they send their proxies all over the world, not just in the Middle East, but parts of Africa. We see Christians being murdered all over the world because of these Islamic groups that are funded and trained. And that's part of the entire goal of world domination, forcing Islam on the world. We've talked about that at length, the conquest of Islam that is as old as time. Our ancestors and their ancestors from, Constantinople and Europe and all corners of the world have fought these battles because this very ideology was trying to force itself on different parts of the world. That has not changed. And so this is Iran's mindset. Donald Trump understands that. And so if we can force these proxy groups, which only have so much power, out of those regions, Iran becomes less powerful. They end up back at square one. They've made incredible advancements over the past several decades. And if you can assist some of these, and this is, whether this is the right decision or not, I don't know, but this is Donald Trump's mindset. If you can assist these governments in pushing back against these proxy groups, get them out of their country and make sure they never come back, then you've solved a big part of the problem. You've taken away a lot of the leverage that Iran has. So it all goes back to that. And ultimately demolishing any advantages that Iran has built over the last few decades, most certainly thanks to weak U.S. leadership. And that's why it amazes me to see the media and Democrats in particular talk about how Donald Trump has no plan. Pete Hegseth was on Capitol Hill yesterday answering questions from lawmakers. And they're like, well, why does the president have no plan? What does he do? He doesn't know what he's doing. It's like, there's a larger plan. First of all, nobody knows what the plan is. But if you look at it all on paper, it kind of starts to make sense as to what he's doing. He knows far more than any of these senators, any of these House members sitting on these committees will ever know about what's happening behind the scenes. You can take everything that everybody on those committees knows, put them together, and it still doesn't equal what the president, what the Joint Chiefs of Staff, what the Secretary of War, what the vice president, what the negotiators know. And so they got it under control, man. They know exactly what they're doing. And if you want to pitch a fit about it, go for it. But I'm in amazement to see an outside-the-box strategy being used to handle a situation that most of us had just assumed was always going to be a situation. That the Middle East was always going to be at war. Because this could turn into Lebanon, which nobody would have guessed, being a part of the Abraham Accords. Like, there is big picture stuff going on here that nobody ever thinks of that Donald Trump is trying to piece together. He's 12 steps ahead. I think the people around him are just as smart. They're 12 steps ahead, and they understand what it's going to take to get to where they want to get. 205-545-9950. I'll give you Trump's comments from yesterday when he was hosting the president of Lebanon, and what he says about the next steps in Iran right after this. All right, so yesterday, Trump in the White House, we carried a lot of this, by the way, but we ultimately had to take a break and missed part of it. But Trump was asked about a report about something called Pickaxe Mountain, and you're going to hear about Pickaxe Mountain a lot in the coming days. This is another region of Iran where they're apparently, according to Israeli intelligence that was then leaked to the media, uh, Iran is attempting to move their nuclear program to this region under a mountain, however many feet underground. I've seen reports of up to 6,000 feet underground. Is I don't even know if that's possible, but uh, there are ways to attack that particular those particular facilities, which I assume they already exist. They're just wanting to turn them into their new centrifuges. Trump was asked about that, and this is what he said. According to satellite images, they have obviously things that are necessary, like ventilation pipes and things of that nature, which we can just easily go by and drop a bomb down, which is what we did with the original nuclear sites. Just drop a bomb down there. We've got bombs that some of which don't, may only go 200 feet underground, but however far down that a missile goes, you throw one down there, let it do its thing, make some room, throw another one down there, and keep throwing them down there until you reach where you're trying to go. Then, even with what I just explained to you, an ABC reporter decides, this was Mary Bruce from ABC. She says, there are no signs that Iran's going to stop fighting. And she suggested that Trump has no plan to end this war. This is what Trump said back. Dude, if I work for ABC, I'm like, I don't even want to go to the White House. Because they send that lady and they're like, all right, here's the questions we need you to ask the president. I'm like, they no way. I'm gonna get ripped to shreds. Not asking him these questions. Are you kidding me? Do you know something I don't know? It's so funny. And a lot of this comes back to what I've always told you about liberals, about the members of the fake news media, is that there is an intense level of narcissism that comes along with it. In order to be a full fledged Trump derangement syndrome diagnosed individual, you have to have a level of narcissism that isn't easily acquired. It's something that is acquired through a lifetime of being pampered and told you're great and wonderful and participation trophies and everything else. And that's how a mainstream